Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what the issue was with the original link that I was given, but we should be good now.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
Just make sure Dana's here.
Yeah, Dana, once you're good to go, let me know, and then I can let everyone in. All right, looks like we can see your screen. Are you good to go, Dana?
I am good to go.
Okay, fantastic. I'll go ahead and let everyone in.
I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, everybody, let's get started. Hello, my name is Hannah Coyle. I am the current second vice president and education committee chair for MSATP. The Maryland Society of Accounting and Tax Professionals would like to welcome you all to the member benefit Verifyle Lunch and Learn. Verifyle is a free member benefit, so if you aren't already using it, hopefully you can see how it can help your practice today and join. Our education committee strives to bring you relevant programs which enhance your practice and help you better serve your clients. This webinar is scheduled from 1 to 2. Thanks for your patience as we sorted out our link issue that we had on our side. And during the webinar, if you have a question, either hold on to it or throw it in the Q&A, and Dana's gonna try to tackle them all at the end. If you have an administrative question for us, please ask it in the chat session and we'll help you out there. So now I'd like to welcome our presenter, which is Dana Shibley from Verifyle.
Thank you, Hannah. Hi, everyone. Dana here with Verifyle. And I imagine we probably have a collection today of new users, potential new users of Verifyle, and some folks who are already familiar with it. If you're a new user, potential new user of Verifyle, this is a great demo to kind of make you familiar with the system, help you be up and rolling with it really quickly, and give you a sense for what the broader capabilities inside the system are that can help you to work more productively with your clients and potentially even grow your client base. All of us here at Verifyle are super pleased with the partnership that we have in place with MSATP. And all of you as MSATP members should know that as a result of this partnership, you get access to a premium version of Verifyle. It is actually a legacy Verifyle Pro system, which is no longer generally available on the market. And you get it at no charge to you or anyone at all with whom you'd like to share information or request an electronic signature from. It includes the ability to brand the system as you would like, and also unlimited electronic signatures at no charge. You can access your Verifyle Pro legacy system by clicking on links and recent emails you may have received from MSATP, or you can simply go to verifyle.com and sign in for free using the email address by which MSATP recognizes you to be a member. Again, you can simply go to verifyle.com and sign in for free using the email address by which MSATP recognizes you to be a member. If you do not use that email address, but another email address, then the system will not recognize you as someone who should get free access to the legacy pro version of Verifyle. And eventually you will be asked to supply a credit card number, but you should not have to do that because MSATP has picked up that tab for you. Quick caveat here, I'm not a tax professional or an accountant of any sort, but my job is to make sure that you see how to use Verifyle You understand how to use it from a very base starter level all the way to a more deep functionality level. And you come to have confidence in that, and you pick up some key intuitive concepts that will help you with everything that you do in Verifyle. So this is not the type of demo where you want to take copious notes about step A through Z, but just get a feel for two or three key ways that the Verifyle system works, and then everything will flow automatically from that in terms of your capabilities in Verifyle. Okay, some quick background about Verifyle. We're based out in California. We're in Silicon Valley, and we are led by Jack Smith, who is the individual who invented and co-founded the company Hotmail, which was many people's first experience with both email and the internet, and ultimately grew to something like 500 million users. He also had leading roles with two successful digital security companies, Ironport and Proximex. Verifyle is all about making communication better. We see two key aspects of communication. Those are security and productivity, neither of which should come at the expense of usability. The reason we place such persistent emphasis on security is that we believe the near-term future will continue to be characterized by two types of organizations and professionals: those who successfully make that extra effort to really protect and secure their own information and that information of all those people that they work with, and continue to reap the long-term trust relationship benefits from all those relationships. And those organizations, those professionals who don't make that extra effort to protect that information and see a gradual erosion in those trust relationships moving forward. We believe that the dividing line between those two types of services, those two types of professionals, is really going to crystallize over the coming years. And some of you may have already noticed that's happening in a major way right now. Okay, so you might ask yourselves, what is Verifyle? All right, those of you who aren't familiar with it at all. Verifyle is ultra secure messaging and document sharing and storage all on a single screen, where in that single screen, for each situation that you're working on, whether that be a client engagement, project management, or any kind of sharing or storage of sensitive information, you can see exactly who has access to what information, and if and when any single individual has looked at or downloaded any information. So you always have a very heightened sense of situational awareness in terms of not only your own perspective on that communication with another individual, perhaps a client, but also in terms of what's happening on the other side of that communication. You know, you're not just sending things kind of out into the void. All right, and we'll talk about this more in detail as we move forward and get into the actual demo. So think of Verifyle as your all-in-one communication power tool, specifically designed for those situations that you have to be absolutely on top of, that must be well organized and above all, private and secure. Now, in our secure single screen, we've incorporated the most powerful components of email, cloud file sharing, unlimited electronic signatures, and our patented encryption key management technology, CelluCrypt, which manages the interaction of 6 different encryption keys for each time that any single individual interacts with any single data element inside of Verifyle. So each data element inside of Verifyle has been individually encrypted, such that even if somebody were to break past our encryption, which they won't, all they'd be able to access would be that single data element, and that's it. There's no potential for someone to break into Verifyle and scoop mass amounts of data to gain what we call bulk access, as they have done with so many systems in the public and private sectors in recent years. In fact, with Verifyle, there's no real incentive for someone to try and hack in the first place, because there's not that potential for a large scale return on that hacker's efforts. So this is a major reduction in risk for anyone who uses Verifyle. In fact, we'd say it's a real game changer in terms of your overall information risk profile. And we'll talk more about how this impacts you directly as we move forward. Okay, we're now going to go into an actual demo of Verifyle. Please make note that you'll be seeing the system from my perspective of a tax professional, Dana, And that even though Verifyle is backed by all this encryption technology, all this security, as users, we don't need to create any encryption keys, memorize any encryption keys, manage or share any encryption keys at all. That all happens automatically, completely behind the scenes for us. So let's dive in and take a look. All right, so let me call up a screen now here for you inside of Verifyle. Great. Little issue here. Are you still able to hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, 1 second here. This is because we had another version up. All right, so here we go. All right, so all of you should now be able to see the sign-in screen for Verifyle. So this is, so you can access the screen using any of the major browsers. It doesn't matter whether you're using a Mac, a PC, or a tablet computer. Okay, and you're also, you should feel free to use our handy mobile app if you would like as well. All right, so I'm going to sign into Verifyle using my email address and password. There we go. And I have selected the option inside of the Verifyle such that an authentication code is being requested of me. This is a code that I'm using that appears on my mobile device and changes every 30 seconds. It's actually on my mobile phone. And the benefit of using this second factor of authentication is that even if somebody does somehow get a hold of my password, they still won't be able to access my Verifyle system unless they also have my mobile phone with them. And by the way, you do have the ability to have this second factor of authentication, this code texted to you if you would prefer. So there are 2 ways to do it. All right, so I'll go ahead and type in this authentication code. And by the way, I do have the option to click in this little box right here, which essentially tells Verifyle, hey, Verifyle, in the future, if you can see that the sign-in attempt to this account is occurring from the device that I'm using right now, and also using the browser that I'm using right now, then there's no need to ask for the additional authentication code. But if that's not the case, definitely ask for it. All right, so I'm going to leave the authentication code in, click next. All right, and now I'm inside of my Verifyle system as Dana Shibley, quote unquote tax professional. Okay, and there are a couple things I want to point out to you here. If you are new to Verifyle, you'll see at the top center of your screen here, you'll see the MSATP logo. All right, you can swap that out for any logo of your choosing by simply clicking on your name at the top right, and then going into account settings to add whatever logo that you would like. All right. Second thing I want to point out to all of you is there are 2 main areas inside of your Verifyle system. There's the workspaces area and there's the contacts area. Okay, very simple. We're in the workspaces area right now. We can see that demonstrated by the fact that the workspaces tab is highlighted. All right, I'm going to go ahead and click on the contacts tab to take me over into the contacts area. And here I can see a number of people that are my contacts inside of Verifyle. I can click on any of the names inside of here in order to open up the secure one-to-one communication with that particular individual, right? Where I can type messages back and forth to that person and also click on the paperclip symbol to share files with that person. That person, in this case, Ben Boss, sees the same interface on his side and can type messages back to me and click on the paperclip PCs on his side to share any files, any documents back with me that he would like. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a situation here where I meet somebody new and I want to immediately open up a secure one-to-one communication with that individual. How do I do that? All I need to do is click on the plus symbol here in the contacts tab area like that. And let's say that this person's name is Christine Carson. So I will go ahead and type in her name. And her email address. That. All right, so there you can see I've added Christine Carson's name, and she's now in my contacts list. And I've opened up a private messages area between me and Christine Carson, right? Just for the two of us. And I can type a message to her here. Like that. I can also click the paperclip symbol here and share a file with her if I would like. Let's say I decide to go ahead and share with her, let's say, an annuity policy document, just like that. Okay, so I added that, and then I click send. And that information is encrypted. That's all encrypted as it is pulled into Verifyle. And there you can see the message and also the document that I've shared with Christine Carson. You can see the document expanded on over here where I can do some things to it. We'll take a look at that in just a few minutes here. But the main thing to have in mind right now is that as I brought this information into Verifyle, Verifyle automatically behind the scenes sent an email alert to Christine Carson that lands in her regular old-fashioned email box. Okay. And tells her that I, Dana Shibley, the tax professional, using the secure system Verifyle, am sharing with her a message and an annuity policy document. Okay, she cannot access that information right inside the email. In other words, that annuity policy document and the message, she cannot see in that email. That's simply an email alert that lands in her old-fashioned email box. Okay, why doesn't she see that right inside of her email? Because email is not secure. We don't want to be sending sensitive information back and forth via email. However, she can click on the link in that email alert, which will bring her into Verifyle. And then there she can create a password. Okay, and she will be given access to both the message and the annuity policy document. If she looks at it, I will know so immediately. I'll receive an alert to that effect. If she downloads it, I will know so immediately and receive an alert to that effect. Okay, so, and if for some reason she does not want to click on the link in that email alert, she can go straight to verifyle.com in order to access that information. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and sign in now as Christine Carson. Okay. So let's look from Christine Carson's perspective. All right, so now all of you should be seeing the sign-in screen for Christine Carson. I'm in as Christine Carson. Okay, and I would have received an email alert, or perhaps I, Christine Carson, was already in Verifyle. In which case I would have first seen this internal alert. And if I, Christine Carson, click here, I can see, oh, Dana Shibley, that's my new tax person. I can see Dana's sharing with me an annuity policy document. He just sent a hello message. Okay, I can click on it here, or I can click on it over here. If I preview it or download it, Dana will immediately receive an email alert to that effect. Okay, so I'll type a message back to Dana. Thanks, Dana. Please hold my husband into this communication as well. Okay. And I, Christine Carson, the client, have the ability to click on the paperclip symbol right here, very intuitive, to share a file back with Dana if I would like to. But for now, I'm just going to send this message to Dana. Okay. So now let's go ahead back in and let's look from Dana's perspective again. All right, so I'm back in as Dana, the tax professional. Okay, and I can see that I've gotten a message back from Christine Carson. Thanks, Dana. Please pull my husband into this communication as well. All right, so we can share files back and forth. We can share messages back and forth, me and Christine Carson, right? So for some of your clients with whom you have relatively simple back and forth, let's say you've got a 22-year-old guy, he's giving you a W-2, and that's pretty much it. Situation is pretty straightforward. You would probably be fine working with a client like that right out of the contacts area, where, as you'll see in just a bit, you can request signatures, you can move back and forth as much as you would like in communication with that particular individual. Okay, and for some of you, it might be the case that the bulk of your clients are like that. However, some of you, I'm sure, especially if you've been in the industry for a while, will notice some things here that flag you to the fact that you might want to begin working in a workspace with this person. In other words, graduate this person, the communication with this person into a workspace environment. And some of the flags that might be a good idea are the following. if you sense that you're going to be communicating with multiple people as part of this relationship, and maybe that's as simple as a husband-wife situation, or maybe it's because and that's what I can see going on right here, right? Christine's asked me to pull in her husband. Or it might be because the client, in this case, Christine Carson, has asked me that she wants to bring in her estate planning attorney, or she has a business partner that she wants to be part of some of these communications, et cetera, et cetera. Any situations like that where there are going to be multiple people involved and or multiple topics, right? She's telling me she wants to get a business partner involved. So it's sounding like, based on that and other comments she's made to me, that there are going to be some business documents going back and forth related to Christine Carson's business, but also some private documents. And then also she's talked about bringing her estate planning attorney into our communications as well. So maybe there are some estate planning issues and she wants her attorney to be involved in that, but not some of the other things and so forth. All right, so there's going to be partitioning of information across possibly multiple topics, which we call threads in Verifyle, and across multiple people. And I'm going to need to orchestrate that. These are all flags to me that I want to go into the communications area. Quick, now in the communications area. And here I have a number of workspaces. These tend to be situations where there's a lot of information moving back and forth, potentially over a long time, and most likely across multiple people. Perhaps there are multiple topics or threads involved in these situations, and I'm really orchestrating this and making sure the right people have access to the right information, and the non-right people don't have access to information that they shouldn't, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so I want to have such an environment for this client, Christine Carson, because it's looking like she's got a lot of stuff going on. So how do I start a new workspace? That's right. Just click on the plus symbol here in the workspaces tab, and I'll create a workspace here. I'm going to call it client Christine Carson. Okay. There's the client Christine Carson workspace. I just created it. The host is me, Dana. Why am I the host? Because I'm the creator of this workspace. All right. That means I'm very much the orchestrator, the quarterback, the person who's large and in charge. Okay. Only I can decide who's going to be in these communications inside of the client Christine Carson workspace. I can add anyone I like. I can remove anyone that I'd like. All right. And that could be people inside of my own organization. It could be people that my client asks me to bring into this communication, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And I can also take away complete threads so that they're no longer accessible to anybody. I can add new threads if new situations arise, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So I, as the host of this workspace, am going to click into here and do some of those things. The guests in this workspace cannot pull people into this communication, nor can they add new topics or threads. They can ask me to do that. My client may ask me to do that, right? Okay, so let's dive in. So I'm going to click on the client Christine Carson workspace, and it's completely blank, all right? See the title of the workspace, but it hasn't been built out yet at all. Let's do that. So Verifyle is prompting me to add a guest. So I'll click here to add a guest. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and add Christine Carson. So she should be already been in here, right? There she is. So I'll go ahead and add Christine Carson. And now she's been added as a guest to this workspace, client Christine Carson. And the Verifyle system has recognized, oh, Christine Carson. Well, Dana already began a private messages, one-to-one private messages communication with her over in the contacts area. He might still like to have the benefit of continuing that ongoing stream of consciousness, secure one-to-one communication with Christine Carson right inside of this broader workspace environment. All right, and I have that ability, right? Okay, but the reason I created this workspace, client Christine Carson, in the first place was so that I could take advantage of some of those deeper level communication capabilities, communicating with multiple people, multiple topics, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, those are things I can do using workspace threads. Okay, so I'll click on the plus sign right here, and I'm going to create a workspace thread called tax planning. Okay, I'm going to create another workspace thread called estate planning. That. I'm going to create another workspace thread. Well, we have a limited amount of time here, but I might have specific projects related to this, or she might have a business. Let's say she runs a small LLC. I might write the name of that LLC, right? Okay, the point is, I'm going to now be able to invite different people into these different workspace threads, and only I can orchestrate all of it. So let's first go into the tax planning workspace thread. When I click here, you can see the tax planning thread is private. And by the way, it's been brought front and center because I clicked on it right here. No guests have access yet. Why? Because I haven't given anyone access. How do I do that? I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the gear icon right here. Okay, so this is one of those things where you can't be walking away to do something else. You want to keep in mind in Verifyle, whenever you're unsure about what you can do next or how to do it, go to the gear. Wherever you are in Verifyle, there will be gear symbols that pop up if you move your cursor around. Okay, so I'm going to go to the gear. I'm going to click on Manage Permissions to determine who's going to get access to the tax planning workspace thread. So I click here on Manage Permissions, and I'm going to give Christine Carson access, just like that. Now she has access. She's also asked me to bring her husband in. So I'm going to go back to the tax planning gear icon here. When things are unclear, I go to the gear. Okay, you'll hopefully remember that very corny jingle. Okay, I click on the gear icon right here. I click on Manage Permissions. And remember, she told me in the private messages communication I had with her to bring her husband into this, right? And I know she was talking about taxes. So I'm going to bring her husband in. Well, he's not going to be on my list here because I've never communicated with him before. So I'm going to add him. And let's just say that his name is Sammy Spouse. And I'll go ahead and add his email address. Like that. And I click add. Okay, there's Sammy right there. Okay, so I add Sammy. Okay, and I click save. Now I can see that Christine and Sammy both have access to the tax planning workspace thread. So I'll type a message to them. You guys probably all have to be careful about making jokes about tax time, right? Okay, all right. So I will click on the paperclip symbol here. All right, so I clicked on the paperclip symbol, and then let's pull in some tax documents here. I'm just going to pick some random tax documents. So we're critical about which ones I choose, right? And all right, those 3 documents. And by the way, I can just drag and drop those documents in if I would like. Okay, so there are the documents. There's a message. I click send. That information is all encrypted as it's pulled into Verifyle. And now Christine and Sammy have access to this information. And the documents, again, are highlighted over here, right? And Christine and Sammy, whether they're working in the same place or whether they're working 10,000 miles apart from each other, they can see anything that any of the 3 of us put into this workspace thread, and they can add any information that they would like as well. And remember how I told you when things are unclear, go to the gear. So notice how I'm moving my cursor around and I see gear icons popping up everywhere. So I can go to the gear icon, for example, for the 1040, and I can click on it. And here I can see a number of options of things I can do, including viewing the access history of who's looked at it when. I can download it. I can also download multiple documents, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's all for the tax planning workspace thread. Now let's go into the estate planning workspace thread. So I click on it here. Now the estate planning workspace thread is front and center. Who's going to get access to it? I go to the gear, right? Things are unclear. I go to the gear. I click on it. I click on manage permissions. I want Christine and Sammy to have access to it. And now they do. But Christine's asking me to pull her estate planning attorney in as well. So I'll go back to the gear icon, click on it, click manage permissions. And I'm going to now bring in her attorney. Let's say her attorney is Lisa Lawyer, her estate planning attorney. So I bring in Lisa Lawyer just like that. And now Lisa Lawyer also has access. And bear in mind that I, and only I, the host of this entire workspace and everything in it, I can remove any of these people, including the lawyer, Sammy, Christine, anytime that I want, right? Only I can do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and type a message in here. Let's say I've never communicated at all with Lisa Lawyer, so I might type a message here. Welcome, Lisa. Let's all work on state flash. Okay, and I'll click on the paperclip symbol here, bring in some documents that look like they're estate planning oriented. Let's see, how about an asset allocation document and a business succession map and last will and testament, and a life insurance policy. Take those 4 documents, I'll drag and drop them in just like that, and I'll click send, which shares that message of mine and those 4 documents with Christine Carson, Lisa Lawyer, and also Sammy Spouse. Okay, we have a little latency, slowness going on here. I'm not sure it's still on the internet. Okay, there we go. All right, now it's all up to speed. Okay, and so you can see how I use these 2 workspace threads to kind of kick off communications with different groups of people that also have different topical issues, right? Okay, let's say I want another workspace thread as well, because I'd like a place to put information for my reference alone whenever I'm thinking about this great new client of mine, client Christine Carson. Okay, how do I create a place where I can securely store information for my reference alone? Well, I'll just click on the plus symbol and create a new workspace thread. And I can call this workspace thread my stuff or my reference materials. I probably would, in the real world, just call it my stuff because I would be the only one who ever saw it. But it's a demo for you. I'll name it my reference materials. Okay, no guests have access yet. It's private. Okay, that's the way I want it to be. And I'm going to go to the paperclip symbol right here. I'll click on it. And let's say I bring in, how about building write-offs by parcel and the birth certificate and cash flow report. Pull those all in like that. Okay, and now I click send, but I'm not actually sending it to someone else because you can see nobody else has access to this information, nobody but me. Okay, so I'm sending it into the Verifyle system, just like that. Okay, so those 3 documents are now essentially in secure encrypted storage for my reference alone. Nobody else has access to this information. However, if 6 months down the road, that junior guy in my company has progressed to the point where I feel like it's okay to start sharing client information with him and start having him help me out inside my firm, at that point, I might decide to give him access to this information as well, but that's up to me. Okay, so hopefully all of you are getting a sense now how I can use workspace threads to orchestrate who sees what information. Okay, and let's go ahead and take a quick, and by the way, at any time I would like, I can click on any single one of these guest names in here in order to open up a secure one-to-one private communication with that particular individual. And the Christine Carson one was already open, right? All right, let's see what this looks like from the client's perspective, from Christine Carson's perspective. So I'm now going to go back into Verifyle. And I'm going to go in as, all right, so let's look from Christine Carson's perspective. All right, so I am in as Christine Carson. I would have received an email alert. All right, I'm in as Christine Carson, the client. All right, I would have received an email alert. If I happened to be in Verifyle, I would have first seen this internal alert. Okay, so I, Christine Carson, the client, click on the Workspaces tab here, and I can see, oh, there's a new workspace called Client Christine Carson. And when I click on it, I can see, okay, Dana Shibley's the host of the workspace. And if I click here, oh yeah, I can do a one-to-one communications with Dana, but he's given me something called a workspace thread. And if I click here, I can see, oh yeah, in the estate planning workspace thread, he's brought in my attorney and my husband, Sammy's spouse, et cetera, et cetera. And clicking on this information, as you would expect, clears the alerts, right? As a normal functionality. Okay, and then let's say I, Christine Carson, the client, also go into the tax planning workspace thread. And I can see information that Dana's shared with me here. And by the way, I can go ahead and look at the information by clicking on this side on the documents over here as well. But one thing that all of you should notice is that I, Christine Carson, right, the client, I'm only seeing 2 workspace threads here, although Dana actually has created 3 workspace threads. Remember, Dana created a workspace thread. Dana, the tax professional, created a workspace thread for his reference alone. I, Christine Carson, don't even know that exists. Why? Dana didn't share it with me. In fact, Dana might have 2 other workspace threads that he's using to communicate with his internal colleagues to really break down and analyze my tax situation and argue about how it might best be handled. Dana certainly doesn't want me, the client, Christine Carson, to see that bickering back and forth or that analysis, right? He wants me, the client, to see polished information fit for presentation to me. Okay, so my point is there could be many different workspace threads inside of the client Christine Carson workspace, but I, as client Christine Carson, am only seeing what the host, Dana, the tax professional, wants me to see. But there could be a whole bunch of them, right? And so that's one thing that you should keep in mind. The second thing is that if Christine Carson is a very important client of Dana, the tax professional, and an important client who would appreciate a portfolio view of information, then I, Christine Carson, might expect or demand that there be 15 different workspace threads in here where Dana has broken down the assets. So there might be a workspace thread called overseas assets, real estate assets, or if I'm in the heavy equipment industry or in the real estate industry, there might be a workspace thread called depreciation schedules, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So really think about those clients of yours who would appreciate a portfolio view of their information, where they can go into any of those workspace threads anytime that they would like and think, darn, my tax professional is so well organized, and I'm so glad that my tax professional moved away from just emailing me stuff where I can't see what's related to what or who's getting access to the information all in kind of a single eyeball gulp. All right, so I think you have the idea there. Okay, so as Christine Carson, let's say that in the estate planning workspace thread, I really want to take a look at that last will and testament document. Okay, so I can click on it here, or I can click on it over here. Let's say that I first decide to, let's say instead I want to take a look at the life insurance policy. So I click on the life insurance policy, and first I decide to preview it. That just sent an email alert to Dana that I'm previewing this document, and that access instance is logged for Dana to review anytime that you would like. Okay, and I decide that I, Christine Carson, the client, would actually like to download this document. Okay, that just sent another email alert to Dana, letting him know that I downloaded this particular document. Okay, all right. So that said, let's go ahead and I, Christine Carson, I'm going to type a message to Dana here. And let's say the message that I want to type to Dana is, hey, Dana, let's say 6 months have passed and there are dozens and dozens of time and date stamped messages in the estate planning workspace thread and tons of messages and documents in here. And I, Christine Carson, come to believe that the estate planning attorney, Lisa Lawyer, is not adding any value. Let's say that everything she types in here is very obvious and she's very expensive. So I no longer want her to be involved in my estate planning process. Can I remove Lisa Lawyer? Can I, as the client, Christine Carson, remove her from this estate planning workspace thread? No, I cannot, but I can ask Dana to remove Lisa Lawyer. Okay, but I might not want to do that in the workspace thread because Lisa might see that message that I type before Dana removes her access, right? What I can do as a client, Christine Carson, is I can click on Dana's name right here and send a one-to-one private message to Dana. Dana, please remove this. Attorney Lisa. Something like that, right? Okay, so as Christine Carson, I just sent that message over to Dana. And so now let's go look again from Dana's perspective. Okay, so I am back in as Dana, the tax professional, and I can see that Christine Carson's asking me to remove Lisa. And I think, oh, Lisa, that's Lisa Lawyer. Okay, so the only place she's in here is in the estate planning workspace thread, right? Which I control as I'm the host of this workspace, right? So I go into the estate planning workspace thread, I go to the gear, right? When things are unclear, go to the gear. I go to the gear symbol, I click on manage permissions. There's Lisa Lawyer right there, and watch this. Right now, she has access to the estate planning workspace thread, Lisa Lawyer does, but if I click on the gear icon and click on manage permissions, I can remove her access just like that. Lisa Lawyer's gone. She no longer has access to this information. And let's say that my client, Christine Carson, sends me another message or calls me on the phone and says, hey, I found a new estate planning attorney. Oh, Okay, I go back to the gear icon, click on manage permissions, and now I'm going to add the new lawyer for my client, Christine Carson, and let's say that's Lonnie Lawyer. Okay, and now Lonnie Lawyer now has access to estate planning. The estate planning workspace thread, along with Christine Carson and her husband, Sammy Spouse, and Lonnie Lawyer will be able to see the perhaps hundreds of time and date stamp messages in here and dozens of documents over the last 6 months or several years or whatever. And I could actually type a message to Lonnie, something along the lines of, hey, Lonnie, please review and let's all get together and let's have a 4-way conversation this Friday and please advise us, right? Because Lonnie will have access to everything. So Verifyle allows you to do that take that complete historical chronicle of information sharing and move it from one person to another seamlessly. Okay, imagine trying to do that with email and email. It's pretty darn near impossible, right? And that switch over took me about 20 seconds. All right, so that's a very powerful aspect of Verifyle. And it also applies for me, perhaps I had person A from my firm in here in this workspace thread helping me. And then I decide later, I don't want person A in here, but I want person B from my firm to be in here. I can do that as well. Okay, that's very powerful. Okay, and now what I'm going to do as a tax professional is I'm going to go over to the life insurance policy area. I'm going to go to the life insurance policy document. I'm going to click on the gear icon and I click on view access history. And here I can see for the life insurance policy that Sammy hasn't looked at it yet. Lonnie hasn't looked at it yet. That's okay. Lonnie just got access about 2 minutes ago, right? But I can see Christine Carson has looked at it twice. Okay, and if I click here, I can see the exact dates and times that Christine Carson accessed this information. You're seeing West Coast time, right? Because you're looking at my screen. But if Christine accessed this document 27 times in the last couple of weeks or whatever, I would see every single one of those access instances here. And that would also be a great tip off to me that, my client's really thinking a lot about this life insurance policy document. Maybe I can add some value and talk to her about it, right? Similarly, if I can see that she was just in here 5 minutes ago and I have a call scheduled with her in 20 minutes, what should I be ready to talk about during that phone call with her, right? I know there's a good chance she's going to ask me about the life insurance policy. Similarly, anytime you're in Verifyle, whether you're in a private message communicating one-to-one with somebody, okay, or whether you're inside of a workspace thread communicating perhaps with multiple people, at any time you can click on someone's name to see when they were last inside of that thread, regardless of whether they added any information or not. So I can see Lonnie Lawyer has not even been in here yet, but I can see the exact date and time that Christine Carson was last in here. All right, regardless of whether she did anything. And at a minimum, this gives me some sense of the recency of this information in my client's mind. Again, all of this to help heighten my situational awareness and help me better, in an anticipatory way, service the needs of my client. Okay, so this is a very powerful aspect of Verifyle that's often overlooked, but this workspace environment, if you talk to people who have recently begun using Verifyle, it's typically because they find Verifyle, they like the security of Verifyle, okay? They've heard that it's easy to use. They love the unlimited digital signature capability compliant with the IRS, okay? But if you talk to them after they've been using it for a number of months, they'll tell you how great it is to have information consolidated in a single place where they can easily wrap their head around that information for any particular client at a strategic level and really adds some value to that relationship. Move away from thinking in terms of task A, task B, task C, and think holistically about how to add value to that relationship. And that's because this environment, this workspace environment, really allows you to understand more while looking at less. It allows you to accomplish more while doing less, because you can see the interrelationships between the people, the topics, and the key documents and messages all in one place. And think about moving forward. Okay, all right, so real quickly here, you should all know that, well, here's a workspace that I set up in advance. I want to show you real quickly here. It is for the Rockefeller family, and I'm mindful of time here, so I'm going to cut out a few things and focus on some things that I think will provide the most value to you. And before I forget to mention it, you can see this demo in a more slow fashion if you would like by simply going to youtube.com and typing in Verifyle demo MSATP. Okay, but let's take a look at this. This is the Rockefeller family workspace. Okay, so it's one of my workspaces. Let's say that the Rockefeller family is a family with a lot going on in a financial sense. They're one of my biggest clients. I do a lot of work for them, for one individual in particular, and even some of the family members of that individual. So I click on the Rockefeller family workspace. Let's say my main contact is Ricky Rockefeller. Okay, and for Ricky Rockefeller, I'm helping organize his information across his network of people. And to do that, I've created an estate planning workspace thread for him, a tax considerations workspace thread where I'm selectively sharing information with him and other people in his world, a cash flows workspace thread, legal requirements workspace thread, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And of course, it is the case that for Ricky Rockefeller, there are many people who are interested in some of his key documents, including his life insurance policy and his last will and testament and his asset list. Okay, and those interested people include immediate and extended family members like Rhonda Rockefeller and Susie's stepsister, but also people in his business network, including Ed Executive, his business partner, Larry Lenderbank, his banker, and Arnold Advisor, his financial advisor. Okay, so as you can imagine, I am going to do my darndest to service Ricky Rockefeller as a top-notch tax professional. But above and beyond that, there is a way I can add real value in a way that he didn't anticipate by also serving as a professional, secure steward of his information on a need-to-know basis out to his network of family members and professional services providers. Okay, where I can control exactly who gets access to what and when, all in close conjunction with my communication with Ricky Rockefeller. I can make sure that the right people in his network get access to the right information, control that flow of information, and have confirmation over exactly who has access to what. That is a very sticky position to put yourself into. Okay, and I would put forth that anyone working in any of the professional services industries, whether they're an attorney, a tax professional, a finance advisor, or an insurance person or whatever, the people who are in industries where there's no physical product, right? The bar for us to be able to add value and tighten those relationships is going to rise and rise and rise because of how quickly technology is advancing. And this is a way for you to add value that wasn't anticipated. And as some of you are probably already thinking, if some of these people in Ricky Rockefeller's network see the level of professionalism with which I share information with them on a need-to-know basis, some of them are going to think, I want that guy. I want that guy, Dana, who's got everything so well organized and so well protected. I want him doing my taxes as well. All right, so I'll get off my pedestal here. But I think that myself included, I'm a professional services provider as well. And the bar is going to continue to rise for us to be able to build our businesses and add additional value to keep the clients that we have. Okay, so hopefully I've given you some things to think about there. Okay, moving ahead here, I'm just noticing real quickly that I didn't show you how to do signatures. I think we should do that real quickly. So let's go back into the client Christine Carson workspace. I'm going to go into tax planning. Okay, here we are. And I'm going to type in here, sign this. I'll click on the paperclip symbol here. I'm going to pull in a document to get signed. Okay, how about, I'm just going to bring in engagement letter. There we go. And as you know, if I go ahead and simply click send, that document will be sent, will be shared with Christine and Sammy, but I want them to sign it. So I'm going to click here on request signing, and then I click send. Okay. Send. Okay. And the Verifyle system wants to know who of those two individuals in this workspace thread should sign the document. And I want Christine and Sammy to both sign it. In fact, I want Christine to sign it first. Okay. So I'll click next. And now the Verifyle system is asking me for the first signer, Christine Carson. Do I want her to agree to these terms? Okay, by the way, you can change these terms to be whatever you would like them to be. And you can set those terms to be default by clicking here, whatever terms you'd like. I do want Christine Carson to agree to these terms before being able to access the documents. And do I want to add an additional verification on top of the signature process? Yes, I want to add that additional verification in form of SMS verification. So to do that, I need to add what I know to be the mobile phone number at which Christine Carson can receive the code that she needs as part of that authentication process during her signing the documents. All right, so I will go ahead and type in what I know to be her mobile phone number, which she can receive that code. Right, click next. All right, for the next signer, Sammy Spouse, yes, I want him to agree to these terms below. Yes, I want him to input a one-time signature code. So I'll go ahead and put in what I know to be his mobile number as well. And then I click continue. Okay, here's the actual engagement letter. I'm going to increase its size a little bit to make it easier to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a rectangle here where I want Christine Carson to sign. And I can click inside the box here to indicate what I want to be in that box. Let's say I just want a signature there. And let's say that I want inside of here for it to be a date. Okay. And now I'm going to put the next signer. The next signer, Sammy Spouse. Let's say that I want his signature to go here. And let's say that inside of this box, I would like it to simply be his initials, for example. Okay. And now I can click Finish Request. But I want to point out to all of you that you can save this as a template. So for example, I could call this template Engagement Letter for Couples, so that I don't have to redraw these boxes whenever I use this document to have couples sign this particular document. If it was just one person, I might name this as a template Engagement Letter for Single Person. All right, I think you have the idea. But we're running short on time, so I'm just going to click Finish Request. Okay, and then Submit Request. Okay. And all right, so now let's go ahead in and so that has sent an email alert to Christine Carson and her husband, letting them know that a document awaits their signature inside of Verifyle. Okay, so now I'm in as Christine Carson, and I can see I would have received an email alert to this effect. I can also see inside of Verifyle that I'm being asked to review and sign the engagement letter. I, Christine Carson. So I click here to review and sign this document. Yes, I agree to do business electronically, right? Okay, Dana wanted me to do that. And I click here to get the signature code as part of the authentication process for me to sign this document that Dana, my tax professional, wants me to sign. So now as Christine Carson, I'm going to go to my mobile device where I will have a code that I've received. Right, and I agree to this signature. Okay, all right, and I agree, yes, I agree to the date goes here and the signature goes here, where Dana wanted those items to be. Okay, so I just did that. And now I can see that I've signed the document. Now let's go back in real quick and look at from Dana's perspective. Okay, so I'm back in as Dana. Back in as Dana, the tax professional. I can see that Christine has signed the document. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'll click right here. I'll click preview and let's just scroll down. I can see where Christine has signed and dated this particular document. And importantly, okay, so Sammy would now have received an alert to sign the document. He would go through the same process. We don't have time for that. But what I do want to point out to you is that for the engagement letter, I can click on the gear symbol here, click on View Signing Information. and I can see a full document signing audit report, including the metadata I use to request. That's part of me requesting the signature from Christine. And I can see that Christine has successfully input the verification number, that she's agreed to do business electronically, and that her IP address has been captured per IRS requirements. I can click out a hard copy of this document signing audit report or a soft copy in the form of PDF anytime that I would like. And once her husband, Sammy, signs, his information will be added to this document signing audit report as well. Okay, so Hannah, I have to ask you, how strict are we on time here? Because I'm seeing that we're pretty much at the top of the hour.
If you want to keep going, go ahead. Anybody who needs to leave, feel free. If you can stick around, stick around.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I want to show you some additional capabilities in Verifyle that some of you may not be aware of, and also some things that we've newly added in Verifyle as well. So for any document in Verifyle, you can go ahead and you can preview that document. Okay, and inside of Verifyle, you get unlimited document editing inside of Verifyle in the form of the following. Okay, I'm now previewing this document, and I can click on the pencil icon right here. Okay, and I can change the order of pages in this particular document. I can delete pages in this document by just clicking on the X. I can click Add Annotation in order to annotate the document as I would like. Okay, it's not a very friendly font. There we go. And so anyways, I can do whatever type of annotation that I would like of this document. And I can also merge multiple documents into a single document if I would like. All right, so these are all things that some of you probably are paying for to do in other places. You can do that as much as you would like inside of Verifyle. Okay, and then so all of you should be aware that inside of Verifyle, this is a question that comes up quite often, so I'll go ahead and just hit it on the head here. When you're inside of Verifyle, whether you're in the contacts area, whether you're in the workspaces area, or whether you're in the contacts area, at any time you can have those contacts or workspaces ordered as you would like by going to this little tab right here at the top right, clicking on it, and telling Verifyle to, for example, sort by first name or sort by last name. I like to keep it sorted by updated date, or what I call recency, but you might have a different preference, okay? You can do the same type of sorting when you're inside the workspaces area as well, okay? And then when you're inside of Verifyle, a couple things to keep in mind here that are super important. Okay, so again, if you have very simple situations with communications with a particular client, you might be fine just working with that client right out of the contacts area. But when that client and you start talking about getting other people involved, having multiple topics, including some people, excluding other people from different communications, et cetera, that's when you want to start using a workspace. Okay, so all of you actually have access to what is not just Verifyle Pro, but a legacy version of Verifyle Pro, which we call MSATP Pro. And so the standard version of Verifyle Pro, if you want to just buy it off the street right now, would only give you access to 30 workspaces, but you get 1,500 workspaces. Okay, the only other people who are getting that level of workspace right now are people who are paying $49 a month for Platinum. And that's because your organization moved quickly to partner with us. So that's a nice advantage for you. Okay, and I do want to also point out to all of you again right here that as you know, in the workspaces area, you can at any time go in here and you can add individuals by just clicking on the plus symbol like this. But you should also know that, of course, when you add a bunch of individuals into your system, you can very quickly and easily communicate securely with any of those contacts. But you can also bulk import contacts into your Verifyle system using the standard CSV file format, which is what software companies use for the export and import of contact information. So you can bulk import all your contacts into Verifyle if you would like, and then they'll all be loaded in here, and it'll be very easy to create workspaces and just pull people in. And for contacts, you won't be constantly typing in first name, last name, email address, et cetera, et cetera. In order to do that, if you go to youtube.com and type in Verifyle contacts, you will see a very brief tutorial video about how to use the CSV file format. If you have any problems at all, if you need help, just email us at support@verifyle.com. We'd be happy to help you out. Okay, now let's go over here and let's go, if you go to the top right-hand corner of your system and click on your name, that will bring you into a place where you can choose account settings. Okay, also, I'll just point out, because this is a common question, there's no file size limit inside of Verifyle. Okay. All right, so effectively, your limit is the 250 gigs of space that you have, which should be fine for all of you. I don't know that we've had anyone in your industry at least go past that limit. And we've had people who've been using Verifyle for a number of years. Okay, so in Verifyle, here we're now inside the account settings area. And in the account settings area, I can point out here, this is where you can change your name. You can change your email address if you'd like. You can change your signature. Here's where you can swap out the MSATP logo for any logo you're choosing. Okay, public upload page. We're going to come back to this in just a minute, and we're also going to come back to requesting payments in just a minute. Okay, storage used. You can see here I've used 21 megs of 250 gigs. All right, so I haven't even used, I've used a tiny fraction of 1% of my space. Okay, automatically send alerts. You want that to be on. The default setting is on. That's what makes it so that an email alert is automatically sent to the intended recipient or recipients of information you've added to Verifyle. Document activity alerts are on. This is what allows for you to receive email alerts when someone has looked at or downloaded any information that you've shared with them. Okay, now you can turn that off if you'd like. I've talked to some people who said that became too much for them. So you can turn that off if you would like, and then you can always click on a document and click on access history to see when that person has accessed information. But some people love that they receive the document activity alerts. So that's a decision for you to make. Message edit is on right now. However, you do have the option to turn off message edit capability for workspaces that you host, if you would like. That's a decision for you to make. Block list. Blocking someone in Verifyle is not bad. It simply makes it so that when that person shares information with you, you don't want to receive an email alert, that external email alert. You're fine with just the internal alert inside of Verifyle. So if someone's sharing information with you a lot, constantly, and maybe they're sitting 2 seats away from you or whatever, you don't need an email alert every time that person is sharing information with you. You can block that person, right? Because you'll definitely see that information inside of Verifyle. Languages, we have English, Spanish, and French right now. We are going to expand on that. Here you can change your password inside of Verifyle. Session management, please, all of you go inside of session management. In session management, this is where you can go, and if you have any other sessions of Verifyle that you started on other machines or on other browsers, you can close out those systems here, okay, those sessions. Okay, but most importantly, you can click on this little slider right here and indicate to Verifyle the amount of time after which, if you have been inactive in your Verifyle system, that the Verifyle system should just automatically sign you out. Okay, I like to keep it at about 1 or 2 hours. Okay, this is especially useful for those of you who may forget to sign out of your Verifyle systems. Okay. I recommend that all of you use two-factor authentication. Okay, so I'm using two-factor authentication in the form of, as I said, the authenticator code, which changes every 30 seconds on my mobile phone. You can also use two-factor authentication by having texts sent to you with codes, right? So that tends to be easier for people to set up. So you're welcome to use either one of those if you'd like. Okay, and all right. I don't want to get into these issues too much. I think it's more important to focus on some other key issues here. So let's bounce back up to the top. Public upload page, okay? The public upload page is basically all right. So you all have MSATP Pro, which is Verifyle Pro Legacy version. You get that at no charge because you are a member of MSATP. Okay, you do not by default have access to the public upload page, okay, or to the request payments capability. People are paying a lot more. If they come in off the streets to get those capabilities, but we understand that and we understand you're a legacy partner, so we want to correct for that. So let me show you what we've done. So first of all, what is a public upload page? The public upload page is basically a custom web page that anybody can use to securely share information with you that would end up in your Verifyle system. Okay, for this custom web page would hold your logo and also a custom message from you. And you are also allowed to create a handle for it. So for example, my handle might be Great California Taxes Dana, okay? Or California Taxes by Dana, something like that. Okay, as long as nobody's taken that handle yet, right? If they have, then I can't get it, right? But let's say no one's taken Dana Taxes California, so I take that handle, and that handle also serves as a link that I can add to my email signature in my emails, right? That anyone can use to click on and securely share information with me. I can also put that handle, that link, on my website for anyone to click on that will bring them right into a way to communicate inside of Verifyle. All right, so that's something that you can do to learn more. You can click right here and watch the little video, okay? All right, and then you'll see some visual examples there as well. Request payments, so this is actually invoicing, payment request, and receipt, okay? So this is something you can do inside of Verifyle as well. And both this request payments and the public upload page are things we've added very recently. Okay, so some of you are probably wondering how you get those. So to get detail on that, go to the bottom of your account settings page, and in subscription settings, click on show options. This is the bottom right thing in your account settings area. And in show options here, there you can see what all of you get at no charge as for being a member of MSATP, okay, with your 1,500 workspaces, that the only other people who get that many workspaces are paying $49 a month. So some of you will be fine just using the MSATP Pro, which is the Legacy Pro version that I told you about, at no charge. However, if any of you are interested in the custom public upload page and or the ability to request and receive payments, you can upgrade for $9 a month to get what we're calling MSATP Pro Plus that will give you access to those two capabilities. And I guess between the two of those things, the custom public upload page has been very popular. And we also have a bunch of folks using payment capabilities inside of Verifyle as well. Okay, so I recommend if you're interested in those things, again, just go to the bottom of your account settings page. So click on your name, the top right, click on account settings, go to the bottom, and then click on show options, and then you can learn more. If you have any questions at all, if you need any clarification, just email us at support@verifyle.com, and we would be happy to help you out. Okay, so I think I've gone way past the time that I was supposed to take up, but I should hand it back over and just ask if there are any questions at all.
And if anybody has any questions, you can just pop on, since the Q&A feature wasn't on this Zoom link.
I have some questions. Hi, can you hear
Yes.
me? Yes, I put it in the chat, but I have a client that I sent a link to sign on with Verifyle so that we can communicate and send documents, etc. But what she did, which I don't know how she did, she was able to create a host page.
Oh, she created a workspace.
created a workspace. I already had a workspace for her, under,
Yeah.
and now she's the host. So how do I?
Yeah, so that's not an optimal situation. I would ask her to please keep information in the workspace that you host. And that's because you're getting paid to be the professional and keep her stuff organized, present things in a manner so that she, the high priority things are given high priority, the lower priority things have lower priority, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very good question on another level, because if you're getting started with using Verifyle, the best way to start out is to send a regular old-fashioned email, perhaps using VCC, to all your clients saying, hi, something along the lines like this. Hi, in the interest of protecting your information and to be better able to serve you as your tax professional, I want you to know that from now forward, I'm going to be using Verifyle to communicate with you. So please have a heads up for email alerts that you'll be receiving, inviting you into Verifiles.
Right.
So that way, and then when you put information inside of Verifyle, that person will receive an email alert from Verifyle. They'll see your name too, but they'll say, oh yeah, this is the Verifyle system that Cheryl gave me a heads up about. And then when they go into Verifyle, they'll be able to click on that link, they'll get into Verifyle, and they will see first off the workspace that you created or the message that you started communicating with them with. What you don't want to do is, this has happened, what you don't want to do is send an email out. Let's say you have 100 clients and you send a message to 100 clients. Hi, everybody, go sign up for Verifyle. It's verifyle.com. And the reason you don't want to do that is because they're going to go into Verifyle and you haven't put any information in there for them yet. And the problem with that is it's a little bit like getting invited to dinner and you show up at someone's house and there's nothing on the table. It's just not an optimal experience. So, the best way to bring someone in is, and I don't know that you did that, by the way, so I'm kind of using you as an example. I'm not beating on you.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I did.
Okay.
I sent individual messages to each client.
Okay.
So everybody who responds to me responding to their own particular account.
Okay, so they're doing it right. Okay.
I don't know where she came up with this. I had sent her an original message through the account that I created for her so that she can respond. And somehow I saw a workspace that she had created, not in her name, or I don't know what she came up with, tax something documents, and it's under my workspace thread. I'm like, well, how did you do that? So I'm trying to get back to, I want her to go back to the
so probably one of two things happened. One is that she became confused about how to use it, or she's someone who is very meticulous in planning. And for example, I set up Workspace for my tax professional because I took the position of I'm going to control who sees what and when. So that's a personality type issue. But as a professional, you really want to do that because you want to be the orchestrator of that information. Because I mean, theoretically, she could bring in someone accidentally that's then seeing her tax information and any comments that you put in there. So I would find a way to encourage that person to let you create a workspace in which she communicates. And you can actually pull information from the workspace that she created into the workspace that you have for her. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Every single tax professional, you might have a small percentage of your folks that you work with, and they'll take the time to poke around Verifyle and think, hey, I really want to control, what's going on here with all my contacts. But that's a small percentage case.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Me too. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
I think we're good. Thank you, Dana. And
excellent.
Thank you everybody else for joining us and for sticking around a little longer. We appreciate your time and participation. Hope you found it beneficial. Hope you'll join Verifyle if you haven't. and we look forward to having you join us in future events.
Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you.